this is why we'll close this segment of the conversation. This is why I will always harp on the hypocrisy of MAGA, because you and I keep coming back to the hypocrisy. Not just you and me, but anybody who talks about it analytically and thinks about it. They undercut whatever message they have by inconsistently applying their principles, their so-called principles. And I feel it's really important to keep pointing that out because you're right. Monroe's right. Everybody who comes on the show, we all know that there's like 40% locked in. They're going to follow Donnie off a cliff. They love him to death. I can't expect like the Joe Rogans of the world to take a stand, because this is his audience as well. And so we're all, it's, you have
even Joe Rogan went against them with the immigration thing. He's like, oh, this is wrong with Kilmar Brago, when they sent them off to that prison in Latin America,
Louisiana.
Yeah, no, in Latin America, and Venezuela. No, where was it?
Yeah. El Salvador.
El Salvador, sorry.
Yeah.
And so when they sent them over there, even Joe Rogan was like, that's not right. That's not cool. Like that, we can't be doing that. So, I mean, even he has somewhat of a heart, whereas, like all these other people are like, nah, that's what they deserve.
No, in Joey's defense, there's a clip floating around the internet now from 2018 where he goes strong. I mean, the thing he did about Garcia getting sent to El Salvador was a little wimpy. If you want to see Joe Rogan mad, go talk about like trans in sports. Okay, you want to see Joey go nuts.
And that's another one where there's like I forget what the percentage is, but it's less than 1% in college in sports across the nation, and yet this is like the rights fixation, and it just works for them because everybody piles on it, even though it's such a minuscule percentage of trans athletes in the college sports. It's just ridiculous.
But Joe Rogan goes strong. I think it was 2018 about separating families at the border, and it's a powerful clip. It's been going around the internet, so I gave him credit for that back in the real time. And he went strong. I don't know if you've seen that clip. He went strong.
No, I haven't.
In 2018. So he hasn't. Okay. He's been kind of. Come on, Joe. You come out from under the table. Come on. You scared? It's okay. Come on. You can say something bad about Donnie.
Right.
They won't kick you. You could still go to the fights on Saturday. They won't kick you out. Maybe they will. I don't know. All right. We will close with what I thought we were going to open with. Typical Ben Joravsky show. And it's all right, man. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Your thoughts and observations about Monday's parade, Saturday's Donnie Trump celebration parade. And let me just point out before I got to set the table with Antonio. We've had many conversations about this, the whole concept of patriotism. There was a period in Antonio's life where he would not stand for the national anthem. We have debated this point so many times. And he's evolved, moved on, changed. So the last time we were at the Bulls game, he was right there with me, standing at the national anthem. But there was someone, remember, to the left of me, was sitting. I go, Antonio, look. Your brother.
And you know what? And that's fine. I totally accept the fact that people want to protest in that manner or whatever. Like I told you before, the national anthem, it's like I find it as propaganda in itself, where people are just doing it just to, show some sort of patriotism when you can just do that without having to, stand for the national anthem or recite it or whatever, but if they don't want to stand, that's fine. It's not going to offend me any, but I choose to do so because I have faith that this country, for what it stands for, will turn itself over and become what it's supposed to be.
I do it because it's a tradition, I suppose, but I'm American. I'm more American than Donnie.
Yeah,
I believe. So yeah, that's I always stand for the national anthem. It's not even a thought.
You consider yourself more American than the five-time Dodge draft
Oh,
dodger.
what was it? His toe? I can't remember him.
It's
I always get
Bone
him mixed
Spurs.
up with
Bone
Rush
Spurs.
Limbaugh. What was his? Oh, Bone
Bone
Spurs.
Spurs. Yeah.
Sorry, Donnie.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on the great celebration of patriotism over the weekend, Donnie Day?
I think it's hilarious. You know, he used the Army's 250th birthday in order to justify having his Trump charade instead of parade, his Trump charade, right? It was hilarious in many ways. Okay, first of all, the guy couldn't even stay awake during the parade. Okay, there's many clips of him falling, nodding off, falling asleep, whatever. Okay, secondly, the vehicles that were rolling down the street were all either designed or commissioned in the 70s and 80s. The helicopters, all of them. I mean, and mind you, I didn't watch it because I refused to give him any ratings, knowing that that's how he, you know, that's how he lives, and that's what gets him off is the ratings. So I tried not to participate to that. But the highlights that I've seen online and the highlights that I've seen other people post on their social media, just hilarious. It's hilarious, like the stands having all those empty seats out there and everything. It's just they couldn't even do what the Sox do when the Sox have an empty stadium or the seating is sparsely filled. They gather everybody, they send everybody from the upper levels down to the lower levels to make it look. They couldn't even get people together like, all right, come on, let's fill up these stands to make it look like it's we got a lot of people here. So it's yeah, and like the main thing that I want people to understand about this parade is that when other countries do this, mainly dictatorships, they do it not to stoke fear into other countries, but to stoke fear into their own people. And I feel like that's what Trump is doing here with this is, especially after what happened over the weekend. You want to talk about optics, especially after what happened over the weekend with the National Guard being sent to California, against the governor's word. It's meant to put fear into the people within who oppose the president.
By the way, I got to close with this. I didn't even think of asking this until just now when you went on that riff. Again, Antonio, a Marine, served in 90s. Marines.
94 to 98. Yep.
What did you just say?
94 to 98.
94 to 98, 4 years. And not just National Guard dispatched to LA, but Marines. And thinking about your training, think about your worldview as a Marine. You got to riff on that a little bit. Marines sent to an American city. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, because it's specifically because of the training. There was I don't remember if it was National Guards or the Marines, but they detained a veteran, as a matter of fact, who was trying to get into the VA and just happened to cross a line that he was unaware, or maybe he was aware but couldn't hear the orders being shouted to him or whatever, so they detained him. But there there was an incident that I keep hearing over and over about when the Marines were sent in 92 after was it 92 after the Rodney King
92 in LA, the Rodney King riots. Go ahead.
And so there was a instance where they were there to help the local authorities, and so there was a situation where they were the police were in a building or something like that, and they were running out, and they yelled to the Marines to cover them. And so the Marines, understanding cover as in a wartime situation, they thought that it meant to lay down cover fire in order for them to get out of the building, and so they did. They laid down cover fire, and fortunately, nobody was injured in any of that. But that's just an example of why you don't want to do something like sending troops into an American city, because there's situations that are met, they were trained for war. They weren't trained to deal with um, domestic uprising or domestic, protesting or domestic, they're not trained for that. They're trained to go after the enemy, and there's specific training that is involved with that. And you don't want to implement that within a city, a domestic city, especially.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I also just wondered the mindset. Like, just if you can't go back in time to the Antonio that existed in 1996, 97, 98, what would your mindset be if you were sent to LA?
Yeah, I couldn't even. You know what? It would be hard. It would be hard. I mean, because these are U.S. citizens. How do you act? Like, you don't want to, yeah, it'd be difficult. You don't want to do that. I don't want to be in that position. I wouldn't want to find myself in that position. And for these Marines that are there now, I know that it's extremely difficult for them to be in that same situation, or to be in that situation right now. And I hope that the judicial system gets their stuff together and finds that this is an abuse of power, and removes both the National Guard and the Marines from LA.
You mean when you say that, you mean specifically judges, because you can't rely on the Justice Department of the Trump administration. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Forget about the checks and balances that were.
Man, they're talking so much trash. The Justice Department officials in Cali, they're like, we're going after this one, we're going after that one, don't get in our way. I'm like, God damn, man, you guys have been watching too many Rambo movies, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. And
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I just want to say one thing. The Democrats need to get their stuff together, because once his term is over, or however this is going to end, they need to be ready with whoever it is that they got, or whoever it is that they the people want. Let me say it that way, because that's really what it is at stake here, is having whoever the people want from the Democratic Party to lead the Democratic Party, whether it's an independent or progressive or whoever that person is. The Democrats need to fall in line with that person and try to give the people what they want, because I think it's more important now more than ever that they do that.
I think the people definitely, and I've seen all the polls, and I'll hold off from the deep dive on that. I'll save it for another show. The majority of the people in this country definitely want to break from the politics of Trump. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So we'll see how it unfolds. Antonio, thank you very much. Did a great job. Semper Fi. We'll have you back real soon. Probably a lot sooner than this one. I forget. It's been too long. So we'll have you back. Right. All right, young man. Thank you very much. Also want to thank producer Chris. He does an outstanding job. I know Antonio agrees with what he's saying. Hey, producer Chris, give yourself a raise. Take it out of petty cash. Peace and love, everybody.